Hello Year 12 and Year 13, welcome to this week's assembly. I want to start off talking to you about Ramadan. Last week Muslims across the world began their observation of Ramadan, including students in our school. This Ramadan runs through from Monday the 12th of April, so last Monday, to Wednesday the 12th of May, and it's a month of fasting, prayer and reflection. The festival usually places a huge emphasis on community as well, where extended families and friends would usually meet after sunset to socialise and share food. Like many events we usually observe in a particular way, Muslims are having to make adaptations to their usual social traditions, with restrictions still not fully eased. We can all relate to this. During Ramadan, eating and drinking are not permitted between dawn and sunset. This fasting takes great dedication, sacrifice and perseverance. In fact, one of the main purposes of fasting during Ramadan is to strengthen self-discipline. Some of us find it relatively easy to stay in control and avoid temptation, but for some of us, this is more challenging. How many of you found it easy to stay self-disciplined during remote learning? How many of you struggle to maintain your focus and motivation when you didn't have teachers nagging you and physical lessons to attend? Self-discipline is a life skill, and one we hope you feel you have by the time you leave sixth form. The move from year 11 to sixth form gives you a lot more freedom, but with that comes a lot more responsibility too. Study periods give you the choice between whether you spend an hour chatting in the sun or get ahead in your geography. So how do Muslims keep themselves motivated to persevere in their fasting tradition, especially when they have modern life to contend with, in which they must balance work, school and other commitments? Well, they willingly commit themselves as a community, knowing that others are sharing the same experience as them, just as you all do when you commit yourselves to your different subjects and sixth form life. They also know that through persevering, they will gain a huge sense of achievement and satisfaction once the fasting period ends, with a newfound appreciation for the things they temporarily sacrificed. Lastly, the end of Ramadan is marked with the celebration Eid. This is a joyous occasion in which Muslims celebrate with their loved ones, and its joy is very much rooted in its communal experience. Show commitment, self-discipline, and persevere too, and you will too be able to celebrate your achievements at the end. Just something I want you to think about this week when you continue in with sixth form. So on to some more housekeeping things. I just want to keep you up to date and remind you about some key procedures on attendance. So remember that if your lesson is cancelled, you must register with Mrs. Perks, no matter what the scenario. Even if your teacher sent you work beforehand, you still need to register with Mrs. Perks to get your mark for that lesson. And often Mrs. Perks will have additional information that the teacher may have sent to very recently that she will need to share with you. So always go and register with Mrs. Perks if your lesson is cancelled. Also remember that if you do need to miss any time of school, even if it's just one lesson, for something that really important like an appointment that can't be moved, or if you're genuinely ill and really can't make it in, then again get a parent or guardian to email Mrs. Perks so that we know where you are, we know that you're safe, and that we can authorise your absence. Remember that if you need to self-isolate, obviously if you receive a positive test result yourself, either on the lateral flow or by going to a testing centre, you need to notify the school straight away. And similarly, if you have been contacted through track and trace and it's not through the school, you need to let us know about that. And in both cases, you will need to self-isolate for 10 days. Remember that any time off, including if you're told to isolate, this will be your responsibility to make sure that you keep up with any schoolwork. Lessons will still be going on in person, and therefore it's your responsibility to keep in touch with your teacher and ask them what you need to be doing. Remember also, if you're entitled to EMA, then you need to be checking in with Mrs. Perks on a weekly basis to ensure that your registers are all accurate and up to date, and then nothing's going to get in the way of payments going ahead smoothly. And lastly, remember the importance of signing in and out for both year 12s and year 13s. Whenever you come onto school site, remember to sign in and to give the specific time. And whenever you sign out, if it's before the end of the school day, before 3:05, then you need to give the time then as well. Please make sure that you put down the time, not ticks. This has been the case since day one, but some people are just being lazy and just ticking the boxes. Obviously, on the last day before Easter, we saw how important it was to have really accurate data of who was here and who wasn't here. So that's why we need you to keep on top of signing in and signing out. It's a simple thing, so just do it. In terms of around the school as well, some of the standards we've seen have been lapsing across sixth form students. And as the oldest students in the school, it's really important that you're setting an example for those in Key Stage 4 and in Key Stage 3. So obviously the one-way system, please stick to it at all times. Okay, obviously at the busiest times during break and lunch is especially important. But even if you've got a study period and you think it's okay because it's so quiet to go around the one-way system a different way, okay, just because there's less people around, that's still not okay. You still need to follow the one-way system because you never know what staff or students might be traveling around the school as well. Similarly, you know that masks now have increased need in them to be worn all the time, except for when you're eating or drinking or involved in vigorous exercise, such as you're playing a sport. Where some students are relying on staff reminding them and seeing what they can get away with. It's really kind of immature to be doing that now at your age, and you need to be taking responsibility for wearing your mask at all times, not waiting for a teacher to tell you to do so. The masks are very much a key bit in keeping us in school and keeping us all safe. So it's important that you're all sticking to that. Equally, sanitizing. Some people's standards have gone down in terms of sanitizing when they're entering new spaces. So whenever you enter a new classroom or whenever you come into the study room, it's important that you sanitize. Toilet standards have become an issue just before Easter, and we want you all to have access to pleasant toilet facilities that you want to use. So please be vigilant when you're using the toilets, be aware of others' behaviour, but obviously, of course, make sure that you leave the toilets in a state in which you'd want to find them. If there are any issues with the toilets, if you see anybody doing anything they shouldn't be and want to report it, or if there's something just genuinely that needs replacing, like toilet roll, or you think that there's a leak in the toilet, then please report this straight away to a Estates team so that they can deal with it and return your toilets to a satisfactory standard. Also remember zones of the school. So your zone of the school is the sixth form study room and the benches in the area outside. Apart from places like the sixth form art room, outside of lesson time, that's the only zone of the school that you should be within. Those are the only toilets that you should be using within the study area. So please make sure that you stick into your zone so that we maintain our bubbles across the different year groups. Also, litter, we need to make sure we're staying on top of this. There's been a few littering incidents where people have just been a bit negligent and not cleared up after themselves. It's a basic thing, so just clear up your mess. And lastly, since we had the relaxation before Easter with uniform, we've seen a bit of a lapse in uniform since returning, and we need to make sure that there are no boots, specifically Dr. Martens we're seeing a few cases of. No boots, just wear sensible black school shoes. Jeans are not permitted. It needs to either be a trouser or a skirt, and hoodies have been creeping back in as well. If you're still cold, because it is still a bit chilly in the morning, then wear a coat or a jacket, okay? But otherwise, if you're warm enough, then your jumper will do. Also, in terms of opportunities, we don't have as many opportunities going on this half term because Dr. O knows that you want to focus on your learning tasks and didn't want to pull you in too many different directions. Something we have got going on though, a talk we have got going on this Wednesday at 6 p.m. So Wednesday, 21st April, 6 p.m. is a well-being talk that's being put on for us. It's going to be on Teams, but there's also an Eventbrite link. So if you look at Dr. O's emails, this will be really useful for you focusing on your well-being during this half term, especially when I know some of you have been putting a bit of pressure on yourselves with these learning tasks. They'll be kind of sharing really kind of simple strategies that you can all put into your lives and your day-to-day life to kind of enhance your well-being and to keep a check on your well-being. So we really encourage you to attend this. As well as that, although there's no specific events happening that are being run by the school, then if you have a look on UCAS, there are still kind of details on discovery days that are going on. There are always opportunities on Unifrog and ideas for what you can be doing in terms of extracurricular. And Speakers for School are also running virtual work experience placements, so please have a little look on there as well. Remember as well that as we return after Easter, then the support is still available for you the same as it has all year. So remember that if you need academic support, turn to your subject teachers and then to heads of department. For wellbeing support, then see any member of the sixth form team, but especially Mrs. Chiliano. For admin support, any kind of letters you need sorting or you need anything to do with admin, then please see Mrs. Perks. And if you think that you'd like to access mentoring support and have more formalised kind of check-ins, then please see Mr. Siciliano about that as well. But most importantly, it's really important that you're supporting each other during this time. So please take that sentiment of be kind when you're dealing with each other. Be sensitive to things that might be going on in different people's lives. Okay, be sensitive to different issues that they might be dealing with, and try to be supportive of them in all ways, especially during this next half term where students may be feeling it a little bit more and feeling a kind of heavy workload. Then it's really important that you're supporting each other. And then lastly, looking ahead, just a reminder that obviously at the moment, we haven't got a clear picture on exactly what's going on post the learning task. Before year 12, you've got this 7-week half term now in which you're completing some learning tasks, but you will also have a 6-week final summer term and you'll be in for all of it. Okay, so you will be in until the end of July, basically year 12. That's a definite. For year 13, we still have an end date unconfirmed, so we don't know exactly when you're going to finish school. So for the meantime, just focus on your learning tasks and working towards May half term. We hope you all have a fantastic week this week, and if there's anything you need any help with or there's any issues, then please speak to your form tutor or come and see a member of the sixth form team. Take care, everybody.